fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Download the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynn Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are live in the Rib Crib Studios.
What time is it?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now in the Rib Crib Radio Room riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Old school, throw your hands up. I'll get it back to you. Don't you worry about it. If you were tuned in today to the radio station at 2 o'clock and you heard Paul Feinbaum coming out of your speakers, that's not a normal thing. We had some difficulties on the technical side of things over here today, so we had to get Paul Feinbaum on. We didn't have Greeny going, but he'll be back tomorrow in his normal time slot at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Give us a call or text 850-215-6290. Playing trivia today, brought to you by Merchant Management Group. If you're a business owner, take a minute, check out how much you spent on credit card processing fees in 2021. If you'd like to eliminate those fees in 2022, give our friends over at Merchant Management Group a call, 850-747-0664. They're located right here in downtown Panama City, and they will get you taken care of. We've got 5 new restaurants for the month of January. Cafe Del Mundo, that is a new cafe in the Cove. Empowerment Cafe, which is a new restaurant right over there by Gulf Coast State College. King Kong Milk Tea and Smoothie Bar, which is a new smoothie bar in Panama City Beach. Shore Dogs in Panama City Beach. And Sombreros Mexican Grill, a new restaurant on the beach side, Panama City Beach. And if you'd like to be one of these 5 restaurants, give Merchant Management Group a call, 850-747-0664. The trivia question for today: who has thrown the most interceptions in the college football playoff national championship game? There's 2 correct answers. I'll take either one of them. Old school, where are we at?
We're on the radio here. We're playing on 104.3, streaming live on Facebook, whatever that means, and YouTube, as well as Twitch. We're also on our TV partner, Blab TV, over in Pensacola area. Be sure and like and share our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download the new app. It's really cool, and register. All you got to do is go to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Register, sign up. You got a chance to win prizes. Really easy. We like giving away stuff, so it's a good way to win.
Yeah, and you've been winning yourself lately, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, life has changed for me. I've been a smoker for 35 years, but I am no more a smoker. I have been off of the tobacco products for 2 weeks, and so don't mess with me, Austin. Don't mess with me today. I'll take you out.
All right, I won't.
So, but no, it's good. I can feel the difference already. I'm breathing better. So, you know, it's time. It's time after 40 years. Yeah, it's time.
All right, good stuff there. Let's get over to the phone line. We've got Robert on the line. Robert, what do you got for the answer of who has thrown the most interceptions in the college football playoff national championship game?
Justin Fields.
Say that again?
Justin Fields.
No, sir, that is not the correct answer that we're looking for. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
All right, 850-215-6290. Yeah, I know, right? That is a good guess, no doubt. Last night, we had another quarterback throwing a lot of interceptions. Baker Mayfield couldn't stay off the ground, really. I think he was sacked 9 times last night. Sacked 9 times by the defense. 4 of those by T.J. Watt, who's just, man, he is having a heck of a year. There's 21 sacks so far for T.J. Watt, 1 short of the NFL record set by Michael Strahan in 2001. The Browns also, another thing, just, I don't know, it was almost like they were thinking that was Baker Mayfield's last game as a Brown, and just like, hey, throw the ball. We don't need to use Nick Chubb. He only ran for 9 times.
That's unbelievable.
We're talking about Nick Chubb, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the top backs in the league, And he only gets 9 touches?
And you got to create balance. We talk about this all the time, that you're not going to be able to have your game plan is not going to work the way that you want it to work if all you're doing is throwing the ball. Now, for the Steelers and what they did last night, we got that. Me and Austin, we had to put the old heads in their spot yesterday. And did the romanticism work, or did it not work last night, old score? Or was it just because of the Browns?
No, I think it was a combination of the romance definitely worked. I mean, with the fans all showing up wearing his jerseys, they're chanting his name. Everybody knew that most likely his last, home game.
Mm-hmm.
He was fired up. And the team was playing for him. Yeah, it certainly had an effect. But it also helped having the Browns. And I just don't understand with the Browns defense. They should be better than this. And Baker Mayfield is just, I know he's hurt. I mean,
he's banged up pretty good.
He's banged up really bad. But, I mean, at some point, you just have to say, look, if you're that banged up, Case Keenum is there. He can play the position, and
y'all can get the same exact
you're
outcomes.
Going to get the same outcome. It's not going to matter.
I'm right there with you, man. So Big Ben, Baker Mayfield combined for 308 pass yards on 84 attempts, and according to Elias Sports, their 3.67 yards per attempt is the lowest combined rate in a game in NFL history. Not just Monday Night Football, just NFL history, minimum 80 attempts. But also, look at the job that Mike Tomlin has done with the Steelers year in and year out. So he's now been 500 or better in 15 straight seasons. That breaks the tie with Marty Schottenheimer for the longest streak of non-losing seasons to beginning head coaching career in NFL history. And it hasn't just been easy peasy for him. I mean, the Steelers normally have a good defense. That's true. They had Antonio Brown, Big Ben, and Le'Veon Bell all at the peaks of their careers. But still, these last 2 years, for him to be able to get over that hump and at least just stay 500 or better, that's absolutely impressive.
I mean, it's a heck of a coaching job. He's always, now we know why whenever they were talking about him going to USC, he just looked at him like, what? A college job? I've never had a losing season in the NFL. Why would I leave and go to the college ranks? I mean, we understand now why he was so adamant about, no, I'm not going to coach college kids. No offense.
Hey, none taken.
None taken.
Coach, I get it.
Coach Andy Siegel chiming in on Facebook says, tell that kid to get a haircut. Me and old school don't got no hair, so
let him grow it out, man. Let him grow it. If you can grow it, grow it.
That's what I'm saying.
Joanne Albano says, sup, homies, what's up? Thanks for listening today. Austin in the house with us again today, filling in for Boston Tim. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? I'm back again.
Yeah. Are we getting any closer to the decision?
Yeah.
So you were saying that you've eliminated one now, so now we're down to 3?
Now we're down to 3.
We're down to 3.
So we're looking at Madonna, we're looking at Bluefield College in Virginia, and then we're looking at McPherson in Kansas. So.
Ooh, man, cannot wait.
So when these coaches contact you, do you have the chance to really? I mean, are they selling you on their program, or are you just trying to find out?
So it's a little different transferring because I out of high school when I was getting recruited, the way the recruiting process was different, and I mean this is uncharted. I mean I've never transferred before, obviously, so but I've noticed out of high school. The coaches are more like, they take their time, they call you, they talk to you, but when you're a mid-year transfer, you're transferring, literally you have 1 month to close out everything you've got at your previous school and open up everything you need to at your new school. And a month is not a lot of time to do that. And so the coaches also know that too. So it's straight to the point, hey, here's what we got, here's what you got, boom, let's go. It's quick. And the only things that I've been told or given is virtual tours, that's one good thing that came out of COVID is virtual tours. Before those didn't exist. If you want to go see the school, you had to go see it. Mm-hmm. But now you can see it just from your home. So I've seen all these schools just on virtual tours and stuff. So that's cool. But it is different. Out of high school, like I said, they just take more time and it's not a rush to do things. And when you're transferring, they're hounding the financial aid office for you, and you're thinking about things you wouldn't have thought as a senior in high school, how many credits of mine will transfer, and things like that. That as a high schooler you don't care. I mean, because it doesn't matter. You don't need any credits transferring. You're just going. But when you're transferring, you don't want to redo a whole year of school that you already did. So
That
it's
you've paid for, you've either paid for or scholarship. is paid
scholarship
for.
covers it, but
Yeah.
you just don't want to do it again, though. I mean,
I don't blame you.
so
Yeah.
So they got people that'll help you in the academic side of getting your credits transferred and all that.
well, that's all on them. Like they could literally look at my transcript and go, "No, we're not taking any of them."
Really?
Well, then obviously I'd cross them off the list. But like, and that hasn't happened yet. But like the schools that I've been talking to, obviously they've for the most part taken, like the one in Kansas took every single one of my credits, which I was shocked because I mean I've had teammates who have transferred and they've been like, "Dude, I have to redo 2 years of school." Like, but they didn't have a choice because the portal.
So they took your underwater basket weaving class.
They did.
Did they really?
Funny
Wow.
thing is, like I have a first aid class, which first aid it was like 7. It was a 7-week course, and
First aid.
I only went to it twice, and I passed with an A just because it was the biggest waste of my time. They took that one, and the best part is I have a flag football class that I took. They took that one. Like
That almost reminds me of my senior year in high school,
Yeah.
where it was like Bible, college prep, gym.
it's just like okay, because I was thinking like okay, the classes like that, no way.
Yeah, ain't no
they're
way.
taking those, but
Especially like a
he called me
7-day
back. He's
class.
like, yeah, they took every single one of them, and I'm like, oh,
Now,
all
will,
right. Like,
will you graduate from the new school or will you graduate from Wofford?
I'll graduate from the new school.
Yeah, okay.
Just because at Waldorf I had 24 credits left that I needed to take, and at the new school, depending on how many they take or whatever, but hopefully I'll still have 24 left. But so yeah, Waldorf I won't be an alumni of.
Now, as a football player, not the education has such a huge part in
Sure.
the transfer process, like you're alluding to now. But has it changed? Has your perspective changed of the whole like before? You stayed with Waldorf, right? You know, and did when you saw other guys hitting the portal, did you kind of understand? Obviously, you're not in the room with them; you don't know exactly what's going on. But did this whole process kind of change your perspective on that and see? Oh man, sometimes guys just don't get what they were expected or what they were promised whenever they were initially offered.
I mean, some of these guys I will say are jumping the gun way too quick in transferring. Like I don't know how. Like there's some like Tate Martell. He transferred what 3 times, 4 times now.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I could do that because every time you transfer, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you have to do that people don't realize. Like you got to make sure that all your accounts are paid for at your old school. Because I mean, obviously, like if you broke your laptop or something and they pay for it or stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, college is a business, and you sometimes owe them money. You have to make sure that's closed out. Then you have to deal with like financial aid type stuff, which I know obviously Division I they don't have to take out FAFSA or anything because they're on full scholarships. But all that stuff, like I still don't understand. Like there's so much paperwork. I don't know how you could transfer that many times and do it because like I'm doing it just this one time.
And
And
you're like,
I'm
that's
stressed out the gate. Like
Yeah.
wherever I go is where I'm at. Whether it works out or not, that's just I'll write it out because I don't want to do all
Well, I
the
got-
stuff that I've done
I
already.
got a pack of smokes I'll sell you.
I think I'm good on
I
that.
need to get my money back
Yeah, right.
from this carton of cigarettes
Right.
I bought a few weeks ago.
Shoot, yeah, you're telling me, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's just like so. I just look at those guys and I'm like, man, Tate Martell, he must not have to do that stuff himself. Maybe he has somebody do it for him, or I don't
Yeah.
know. But I mean, I'm doing all this stuff myself, so it's a
enough.
lot.
One and done.
Oh
for you,
yeah,
and
like
this is it.
there are circumstances. Obviously, now I understand. Where like I never in a million years thought I would leave Waldorf, but things happen, and you know, there's. I mean, it's life. Just you never expect it, but I don't know how those guys do it because man, it's
And it's crazy, you know, because from our perspective, you're living it firsthand. But from our perspective, we just think, oh, he puts his name in a portal and he's on the way. But it's nothing
Almost
like that at
commercial
all.
that, you know, for Dr. Pepper that they have at State, where you just jump in the portal and you know, and then you're there and that's it.
no. You got to have uncomfortable conversations with coaches,
Mm-hmm.
and like
And
that's
you got to
the-
hope that coach
that's
puts
the
on
hardest thing.
a good conversation for the new coach, because I mean that
Yeah, you
could
gotta
ruin it for you.
got to look your coach in the eye and tell him you're leaving,
Mhm.
and that's a hard thing to do because obviously he's basically been your manager or coach or boss, however you want to word it. He's been the guy that you've been kind of like he's just been telling you what to do and you do it. It's and you kind of have to tell that authoritative figure like, hey, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm going somewhere else. And it's a really uncomfortable conversation. And again, guys like Tate Martell, I don't know how they do that so many times because I didn't want to do it one time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but maybe a guy like Tate Martell has guys going in there and doing his dirty work. But how would that work? I mean, you
well, the
send
meeting
somebody
with
in
a
there.
coach, you can't get around that. You
Yeah,
have
I was
to do
about to
that.
say, yeah. What are you gonna do? Send your dad? Hey, Dad, can you go talk to Coach for me one time? Like,
Doesn't work that way. It does not. No.
Oh man, real quick, touch a little bit more on that Steelers and the Browns game. Big Ben now has 98 career wins at Heinz Field. That's tied with Brett Favre for the third most wins by a starting quarterback at a single venue. He trails only the great GOAT Tom Brady at Gillette Stadium with 135 wins, John Elway at Mile High Stadium with 104. Big Ben is also now 13-1 at home against the Browns. And how cool was it that he could finish out his career at Heinz Field as the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers in victory formation?
Yeah.
The sweetest way that you could go out. And you saw it, man, the emotion. I don't know if it hit you guys. It hit me, though. Like, whenever he was on the sideline, he didn't even realize that the Steelers had just picked the ball off. And he's talking to everybody and just, like, kind of trying to hold it in. You know how it is, whatever, especially us as men or whatever. And we start to feel them tears start to come up here and just, like, trying to look away from everybody. And just, you know what I'm saying? He was trying to do that. They get the ball, and he gets to go out there and kneel it. And then, man, I was just, when they won the game and then he starts going around the stadium, I just wanted the commentators to shut up. Like, quit talking. Let's hear this moment. You know what I mean? They finally did, but it was so cool seeing him going around the whole stadium. Might have been one of the coolest final snaps in history.
I was getting mad at the camera people. Like, they're all crowding up on him, and, like,
Yeah.
he's sitting on the bench by himself trying to get, like, a moment to just take it all in. All these camera people, like, in his face, and I was just like, there's a time where you can get your pictures in, and at that point, they probably had more than enough that they needed.
Yep.
Like, you just got to just let him go. Like, just leave. And you could tell, like, when he was going to go see his family in the tunnel, he was kind of, like, motioning for the people to get out of here. Which I'm like, man, like I get it, they have a job to do, but I was sitting there like, that's a point where you got to let the man just sit there in peace.
Was anybody bothered by the fact that he kept his helmet on? No?
He seemed like he didn't want to take it off
Yeah,
because like it was his last time, and he just like it's like when you play your last game, like you don't want to take your pads off because once you take your pads off,
That's it.
they're not going back on. It's done.
Yeah. I just thought, when he knelt down to talk with his kids, to hug his kids, it's like, take your helmet off. But he chose not to, and he has every right. I just wondered because that's what struck me was, if my child, I'd want to take my helmet off, but
I don't know.
he chose not to.
I just know that each minute that passed by was more emotional for him than the last, and it was tough because going into this season, I'm sure even Big Ben didn't know this is going to be the final ride with the Steelers going into it. And then we got to that middle point. And I honestly, I don't think that we'll ever hear this come out, but I honestly think Tomlin and Big Ben had a conversation middle of the season, said, hey, let's, instead of doing one of these Derek Jeter things where it's a whole year tour, let's go ahead and just do it like this because we've got to change things up, man. Like, I love you to death. You've got some rings put on my finger. I've helped you do the same thing. But you're a tree now, brother, and it is hard for me to run my offense through you. So yeah, what a great game last night. Not for the actual football game itself, but
that they showed the play from the Super Bowl. They were talking.
Oh, the San Antonio Holmes play.
And you see that throw that he made, and you go, yeah, okay, that was Big Ben. Not what he's not throwing 3 yards, not averaging 3 yards. That's what you want to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I thought it was cool that they went back and they showed that play. That's the ultimate Ben Roethlisberger play. In the Super Bowl.
It is 100%. The Big Ben play, the defining. I don't want to, maybe not defining, but that moment that's going to be his Canton moment, if you will. Even though,
Hall of Fame moment.
His Hall of Fame moment. Yeah, no doubt about it. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. When we get back, let's go over the College Football Playoff National Championship, give you some X factors, players to watch, and what we think might happen. Alabama, Georgia, coming up Monday right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
My forecast overnight, scattered clouds, light east winds, overnight temperature 45 to 52. 65 to 72, partly sunny skies Wednesday. Southwest wind will increase to about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of showers late Wednesday night into Thursday. Mostly cloudy skies near 70 Thursday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And here's Brady with no timeouts going against a quote-unquote defensive genius in Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach. So you let a receiver get behind you. The only way I can lose is he's going to score a touchdown. And it's the fifth-string wide receiver who was in because Antonio Brown went AWOL.
Dan Patrick.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Weekdays 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. With the cooler season upon us, now is the time to be attacking those unsightly weeds that have been taking over your lawn all season long. We can design a specific program to help your lawn become and look its very best. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to build sustainable housing and community centers. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes. We've got Austin Siegel and Old School in the building. Real quick before we get into the national championship game, Washington football team is going to be announcing their new name on February 2nd. And it's not going to be the Red Wolves or the Wolves. Your final 8 candidates, and this does, I'm going to say Red Wolves, but just cross that one out mentally. You've got Armada, the Presidents, the Brigade, the Red Hogs, the Commanders, Red Wolves, Defenders, or the football team. So do me a favor and shoot us the text over to 850-215-6290 or on Facebook and let me know which name you like the best. For me, which name do you like the best, Austin?
If there's of the ones on that list, I would go with Commanders, but I was saying at the break, but I'd rather them have name it after that movie, The Replacements. They were the Washington Sentinels. I thought that would be pretty cool to do, but you'd probably have to buy the rights of the name and all that.
Old School, give me a name that you like off this list, and then what you think the best name would be outside of it.
I do like the I like the Armada and I like the Brigade. But knowing the history that the Washington football team has, I think the Red Hogs, because of the history of the Hogs, I think that's probably going to be the winner.
All right. Out of these, I think it's going to be football team, man. I really do think that. Austin was saying something in the break about Groundhog Day because they're unveiling the name on February 2nd, which is Groundhog Day, and so they'll just be living that day over and over and over again. My favorite one would be, though, and I think it was one that Leanne had brought up, But the Washington monuments, I thought that would have been
pretty cool.
That would have been pretty cool to do. You know, you could have just put like the monument right there on on your helmet. Would have got a lot of jokes made towards it, but it would have been funny nonetheless. What they're saying though is that the uniforms are just going to be clean. That's the what they're going for is just clean red or burgundy, yellow, and probably keep the numbers on the helmet instead of doing a whole new logo. We'll see how it goes though. Tennessee Titans linebacker Bud Dupree has been charged with a misdemeanor assault after a fight with a store employee in Nashville. It was at a Walgreens location around 8 o'clock this last Sunday. Verbal altercation ensued, and guys got kind of thrown around a little bit. I don't really I watched this video, and I really didn't see anything that Bud Dupree was doing himself outside of just kind of looked like he was separating people, kind of de-escalating the situation. So we'll see how it goes. It's a charge, and you know how it goes. Innocent until proven guilty for the most part. Bama versus Georgia. Let's look at some key players here. Let's start with the quarterback for Georgia, Stetson Bennett the fourth. He threw for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Tide in the SEC championship. But those 2 huge interceptions, one of them in the red zone, really hurt Georgia in that game, especially after going up 10-0. But he had a huge game against Michigan. Career performance for him, 313 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and completing 67% of his attempts. Old school, what do we need to see from Georgia in this game for Stetson? Or what do we need to see from Stetson for Georgia for him to be the key player in this game?
I don't know that he can be. I mean, I think he can lose the game for Georgia. I don't think he can win the game for Georgia. I think that the defensive backfield is going to be the key to Georgia. They've got to be able to hold up against the wide receivers of Alabama. And if they do, then it's going to be tough for Alabama. I don't think Alabama can run on Georgia, but I do, after the way Bryce Young lit them up in the SEC championship game, it'll be interesting to see, how they decide to defend them.
What do you think, Austin Siegel? What's he got to do?
I think all he has to do is just not turn the ball over. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you give Bama the ball in really good field position, that's where teams lose to him. So as long as he just he doesn't have to win the game. He just doesn't have to lose it. Like kind of what he said. As long as he just manages the game, doesn't do anything too crazy, doesn't make any real bad throws, their defense will probably hold up just good enough that they'd have a chance.
I like that answer. I think that's 100% right what Old School is saying. Austin following it up. He's not going to win this game, but he can't lose it. I think we'll say that every day, multiple times a day for the next 3 to 4 days, whatever gets us to Friday.
I do think it was very important that he have a good game against Michigan. And he did
re-spark that confidence.
For him to believe in himself again. And not that he ever didn't, but I think that he has to just realize that we're going to ask you to do a few things. Mm-hmm. We want you to deliver the ball on time, and we want you to deliver it in the right position, in the right place. Don't try to make a hero throw. Just make the right throws at the right times.
I'm with you, man. I think that they definitely got to get Zamir White and James Cook involved in the run game. If you can penetrate Alabama's rush defense, which has been pretty good this year, and they can get that play action going, get Brock Bowers involved, George Pickens as well.
Yeah,
Stetson Bennett could be over 300 yards in this game, but I still don't think that it comes down to those 300 yards aren't going to be the difference in Georgia winning the game or not. I really think it'll come down to one of the James. It could be a receiving touchdown, but it would be a catch that he made in the backfield and made a big play happen.
Well, I think the key for for Georgia will be to turn Alabama over. In the SEC championship game, they didn't turn them over at all.
Like spank them?
No, I mean just. There was no fumbles. There was no
make them turn the ball over.
They're gonna if they can steal a pass or create a fumble, a turnover type situation, then Alabama just was on such an offensive roll that game that they had them in. Georgia's defense was on skates the whole way.
Breaking news.
Well, while we're on Alabama, let's talk a little bit about Derrick Henry, expected to be at practice tomorrow. So he's a long shot to play in Week 18, but just seeing him on the practice field will do enough for the invigoration of the Titans roster for the playoffs. Because man, to get Derrick Henry back ahead of the playoffs, that would be huge. And then to think about it, as much as I don't want them to get that number 1 seed and have that week off. It's a big week to have off for Derrick Henry. All right, back to it. For the key player for Alabama, I'm looking at Brian Robinson Jr. He got injured in that Georgia game, so he wasn't as effective. He had a huge game against Cincinnati, 134 rush yards and 17 carries. That's just in the first half. Finished up with 204 yards on 26 carries in the game against Cincinnati. So I think that you got to have a big game from him if you could penetrate that Georgia defense and get past the interior, especially big number 99 Jordan Davis
and 88
and your linebacker Nakobe Dean. You got a lot of names to get past. That's a very strong defense. But for me, key player Brian Robinson Jr. Austin, what do we need to see from the Alabama running back in this game?
I think if Bama runs the ball as much as they did against Cincinnati, it's going to be a low-scoring game because they're going to chew a lot of clock. But that would probably benefit them because I don't know if either team wants to get in a shootout, but a defensive battle, I think Bama would go, yeah, I think our defense is better than theirs.
Ooh.
Because, I mean, their defense matching up against Georgia's offense, I think Bama thinks, yeah, we're winning that matchup.
I like what he's saying. I get what
I said Georgia's defense, but I meant they're better than Georgia's offense, sorry. But okay. Yeah, so I think that matchup Bama likes better than Georgia's defense against Bama's offense. So I think they are like, yeah, if we can slow things down and just slow the pace and keep it at where we want it, that's where they'll benefit.
Control the tempo. What are you thinking, Old School?
I think it's, as I said a minute ago, I think that it will be the defining moment will be the 4 guys that are playing in the defensive backfield for Georgia. If they can hold up the speed of Alabama's wide receivers, I don't think Alabama can run on Georgia the way they did Cincinnati.
No,
I don't think that Georgia can run on Alabama the way they did on Michigan. But I think that it's going to come down to the defensive backfield, particularly given the way that Bryce Young threw the ball. He did not have a good game against Cincinnati. And typically, whenever he has one bad game, his next game is really good. And unfortunately,
they're always against Georgia.
It's always against Georgia, so we'll see.
Yeah, he had a tough Iron Bowl, followed that up with a great game in the SEC Championship. I wouldn't say that he had a tough semifinal game in the Cotton Bowl.
He was not as sharp in the semifinal game as he was.
And I think that had a lot to do with just run the ball. But I don't know. We'll see. We don't got too much longer to wait, and Old School keeps on bringing up that Georgia secondary. We'll see how they match up with the Alabama wide receivers when we get back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. This is your exclusive home in Northwest Florida for the legendary Paul Feinbaum Show.
Don't count out guys who have gotten to the very top rung of their sport, because there's a reason why they've gotten there. It's not just talent, it's competitiveness. It's the fact that nothing is ever enough for them. He doesn't need to win another major championship, but he wants it as badly now as he probably did 20 years ago.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, Rick Vossen with Stormore Portable Buildings, located at Panama City Mall on Highway 231 side. If you're shopping for a portable building, whether it be a portable building for storage, whether it be for office space, a garage, or a cabin out on the lake, Stormore's got pretty much anything you could use. From an 8 to 16 foot wide, from 12 feet long to 60 feet long. That's Stormore Portable Buildings, Panama City Mall, Highway 231.
Merry Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Jin Jin Super King Buffet. Have you been to Jin Jin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Jin Jin. They're open 365 days per year, and you can enjoy their hibachi grill, fresh sushi, mouth-watering crab legs by order, and you're gonna love their new Cajun selection. New choices are added often and always fresh. Bring the family out to Jin Jin Super King Buffet for your holiday dinner. Next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach. Open regular hours on Christmas Eve and Day and New Year's Eve and Day.
So, how's the new job?
Love it. But it's not just a job, it's a career.
Life insurance? Love?
I told you Woodman Life is really active in the community, right? They support all kinds of community improvement projects. How's your job, by the way?
Don't ask.
You can love what you do, too. Call me, Lance Myers, your Panama City area Woodman Life recruiting sales manager at 850-769-9212 to learn more.
Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society of Omaha, Nebraska. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
A message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare.
There's pain that does not stop.
I feel trapped by migraine.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
I feel like I'm dying. You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Well, welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. We got the Texas Bowl for you tonight, 8 o'clock, so you'll get 2 more hours of Paul Feinbaum tonight, right after the Afternoon Underdogs, and then at 8 o'clock, LSU, Kansas State, kicking off for the Texas Bowl. We will be picking that one in the 5 at 5, so here in about 30 minutes. Let's look a little bit more deeper into these Alabama wide receivers in the Georgia secondary. And Old School, I want to get some more of your thoughts here. What is the secondary going to have to do to slow down Bryce Young, Jamison Williams? You won't have John Mechie, so if there's a silver lining in that wide receiving core, or not have the fact that they don't have Mechie, that's the silver lining for the Georgia secondary. Need another big game from Darian Kendrick, who transferred from Clemson. He had 2 big interceptions against Michigan in that semifinal game. Do you expect another one from him here? And, I mean, where is Georgia in that confidence of being able to stop Bryce Young after he had such a great game in the SEC championship game against him?
Well, that's the big question is, they did not, I don't know if this was intentional or from a scheming standpoint, but they didn't really seem to go after Bryce Young. From a blitzing packages or any of that kind of stuff, they seem to try to just handle it with their 4 down linemen. And if they didn't get home, then he could stand back there and throw it wherever he wanted to, when he wanted to, and he did it very, very well and was extraordinarily sharp. I mean, every ball was hitting the receivers right where they were able to run as soon as they didn't have to break a stride. So, I mean, that's where I think that's what makes Alabama's offensive performances so tough to deal with is, everybody talks about Mechie being out, but Williams is so fast. I mean, you saw that on the first big touchdown that they got against Georgia when he get that crossing pattern, and I'm like, he's gone. Ain't nobody going to catch this guy. I mean, so that's where can Georgia's defense match up from a speed standpoint with the Alabama linebackers? I'm not sure that they can.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Keeping Jamison Williams in check. No one's been able to do it this year.
Nobody's been able to do it.
I think one of the biggest things for Georgia's secondary is what happens up front, though. You've got to get pressure on Bryce Young, and you've got to get him uncomfortable, because those are the times when you see, don't get me wrong, he's extremely mobile, and he's not a guy who runs first. So take advantage of that and make him run first, because, he's got the legs and he can get around, but get him to the ground, make him think, twice when he's making his throws, I think that Georgia could definitely get inside of Bryce Young's head. What are you thinking, Austin?
I agree. I think no quarterback can throw really, really well with pressure in his face consistently. So as long as they don't even have to sack him. They just got to get close enough to him to where he knows they're there, and just that little bit might make him overthrow somebody or underthrow somebody, and it'll help the DBs out. So that's really all they need to do.
You play linebacker, so what is, for you, whose head are you trying to get into? Is it the quarterbacks? Is it your man on the offensive line if you've been dealing with him all game? Is it the running back? What's your operation, your process like as a linebacker?
You gotta win your one-on-one battle first before you can even start thinking about other guys. And your one-on-one battle is the lineman that you're going against. So if you can get inside the lineman's head and start making him question whether he can even block you or not, it doesn't matter what the quarterback thinks of you, because he's gonna realize, like, hey, my left tackle over there,
he ain't working.
It's not working, or right tackle, or whichever guy it is. And then the funny thing is a lot of times quarterbacks will go, okay, well, if he can't block him one-on-one, we'll just have the running back over in there. We'll have the running back help him, which then obviously opens it up. I mean, at that point as a linebacker, you kind of go, well, having two guys on me, I'm probably not going to get there anymore. But now that opens up the opportunity for the guy on the other end who's pass rushing or taking his chance, and you just got to kind of hope that guy can win his battle. And for the most part, no offensive lineman will consistently win 100% of the time.
Right.
So eventually, once you can get in your one-on-one battle and win your one-on-one battle, the quarterback's going to realize, like, I don't have a lot of time to throw the ball now. I got about 2 seconds, and then I'm getting hit.
To play college football, that would have been nice.
I mean, the whole thing is, and again, we're going back to a game where Alabama played phenomenally well.
Yeah, best game of the year.
I mean, without a doubt, their offense was, from the start of the second quarter on, they were in fuego. Georgia couldn't do anything to stop them. But I think the big question will be if Georgia can put a few licks on Bryce Young. I mean, light him up, even if it draws a flag. I mean, they need to light him up just a couple of times so that he begins to look for where is 17, where's 44, where are these guys? Mm-hmm. Instead of just standing back there. I mean, he was in that SEC championship game. He could stand back there and look for whoever he wanted to throw it to. And that's where I feel like this defensive package that Kirby comes together with and brings to this game is going to be so important, because I think Georgia can score on Alabama. Between their tight ends are going to create issues. Their running game is going to create some issue. The fact that their wide receivers, the running backs for Georgia can go out and play wide receiver at the same time. Cook can go out. Mitchell can go out. There's a lot of good. They can be multi-purpose type things. Mm-hmm. But it's going to come down to how do we make Bryce Young uncomfortable, I think. And if Georgia can do that, then they got a shot. If they don't, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be the same.
Does Kurt, if it's the same game as it was in the SEC championship, a blowout in favor of Alabama, do the rumors, or not, I don't want to say the rumors, but the murmurs of Mark Richt 2.0 start to settle in? Or, at some point, you got to get the job done against Alabama.
Yeah, but I don't think that,
if it's a blowout, not a close game, but a blowout.
Do you consider the SEC championship a blowout? Was that a blowout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blowout game. It started out good. Georgia goes up 10-0, then 24 on extra points from Alabama. But by the third, fourth quarter, are you still are you expecting Georgia to do anything?
I don't. The whole thing with Kirby is he's doing what he's being asked to do.
Yeah.
Other than now, he's just got to get over the hump.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough hump to get over, as we've seen. Only one assistant has got the job done, and it was Jimbo.
Right, and it was a magical moment
Yeah.
Because his team played at a level that was their only time to play like that all year long as well. And Georgia hasn't had that moment yet against Alabama. They've had it against Clemson. They've had it against
Florida.
They've had it, but they haven't had that moment yet against Alabama. Maybe this will be the week. We just don't know. But I really think that Georgia, Kirby understands first of all, it has to be roster. He's got to get the same level of talent as Alabama. He's getting closer and closer and closer. Now, from a quarterback standpoint, are they as good? No. That may be the next piece. And it looks like they have some things in the works there from a quarterback standpoint. But, Kirby's a defensive guy, and I think that's where he's, the same way Alabama was for a long time, which was they won by defense.
No doubt about it. So the over-under set at 52.5, and we're a little less than a week away from the game, but how are we feeling about 52.5 as the number? Austin, right now today, are they over or under 52.5 points?
I would take the under. I mean, both teams are probably going to try to establish the run right out the gate, and that's going to obviously slow their scoring down and burn a lot of clock. So I'd go with the under.
Yeah. Where you at, old school?
I'm not. I'm taking the over. I think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I think both of them have big play capabilities, and when you have those kinds of talented young men at scoring positions, they're going to score. And so I think it's a game that's going to be in the 30s for both teams. So I think I'm taking the over.
I'm actually taking the over right now, and I'm on the same page with you, Austin. I think that if that's how both teams open up, is trying to dominate, running the ball, yeah, we'll probably be under that 52.5 threshold. But right now, if you were to ask me what I think the score of the game is going to be, I'm not going to give you a winner. I just think it'll be 34-31. That's what I think the final score is going to be, 34-31. So that totaled up is 65, so that's over. But we got a lot of days to happen, or a lot of days to pass in between now and Monday at 7 o'clock for that national championship game. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, it'll be time to defend your stance. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Our forecast overnight, scattered clouds, light east winds, overnight temperature 45 to 52. 65 to 72, partly sunny skies Wednesday. Southwest wind will increase to about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of showers late Wednesday night into Thursday. Mostly cloudy skies near 70 Thursday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Some say he only needs one name.
Colin was fascinating today.
Others may feel he needs both. But if you ask him, you may just get this. It's Colin Cowherd, and you can listen to The Herd.
That's a really cool program.
Really?
He's there.
Cowherd's brutal.
He's everywhere.
Hey, Colin, love the show.
Thanks.
He's Colin Cowherd.
He's on a absolute tear. He's different, and it works.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Let All About Garage Doors service your garage door today. All About Garage Doors has 24/7 service at no extra charge. Right now at All About Garage Doors, they will service your garage door starting at $99. And that comes with a free set of rollers. Yes, you heard right. They'll service your garage door starting at $99 plus a free set of rollers. Call All About Garage Doors now. 850-842-9188. Veteran owned and operated.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the Shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Great bowl game for you tonight. The Texas Bowl, LSU at Kansas State. This segment is Defend Your Stance, brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. I pity the fool who doesn't use our tool. Is Baker the problem in Cleveland, old school?
Yeah, he is. I mean, Baker is who Baker is, and he's a hothead. Incredibly confident, and is probably doesn't have the game to back up the confidence. I mean, there are moments where you go, yeah, this guy can. He is a quarterback. You know, maybe he is a franchise quarterback, but then he makes a few plays where maybe not. It's kind of the same way that he was in college.
I was watching the Manning cast when, that was the first time I'd watched that too. I was just curious what everybody was making a big deal out of. I'm like, oh, it must be pretty good then.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was
cool.
It
was great. Yeah.
It was like sitting on the couch watching the game with him. It was kind of cool. But they kept saying, the Manning brothers kept saying, like they would see Baker make a throw and they'd be like, man, what is he doing? Like, he's got a guy that's open right there. Like there was a play where they ran a tight end ran a drag, and then behind there was a deep post or something. And he threw the post that was covered by two guys, and the tight end on the drag was wide open. Like, wide open for an easy first down, but he tried to force it and take a shot and ended up just almost getting picked off. And the Manning brothers were like, man, like, I don't know what he's seeing there. Like, it's
especially if that's Eli telling you that.
It's wide
open.
Open.
That's the funny part is it's Eli. It's Eli telling him that.
Yeah.
You know? And you can see it with Peyton because nobody's ever read defenses like Peyton.
Yeah.
But for Eli to be able to call him out on it at the same time, you're like, well, Eli, I saw you play a few times where you did similar things.
Very similar things.
Yeah. But, but it is fun to watch. I mean, I enjoyed that far more than whenever they had different athletes coming on that, whatever, if you know what I'm talking about. They've had guests there that really did. I just enjoyed hearing them dissect and kind of think through the plays and why is he throwing it there, and that's what I've been wanting to get out.
Well, if they were doing it in person with each other, especially if the Manning brothers were just in the same building, it would be such a different. It'd be a lot more fluid. But it's so hard when you've got guys who are all in different parts of the country and you're trying to feel that vibe and like who's supposed to talk when and all of that good stuff, because
we know how hard it is.
Exactly. You know how hard it is just being in the same building, but because you can look at each other and the eye contact will, okay, we need to do this or whatever. Well, when it's those guys, it's you ask a question and you know how that delay is or whatever. So by the time that they're like, oh, dead air or whatever, so they start talking and now you just got a whole bunch of people talking over each other. Let's get over to the phone line real quick. We've got Ian on the line. Ian, go ahead. Let's defend your stance on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, first off, guys, I want to say Happy New Year to y'all fellas. Did y'all have a good holiday?
Yes, sir. It's a new year. Happy New Year.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so the Jaguars. Am I off my rocker here to say that Shad Khan is the problem with this team? I mean, how many general managers are they going to go through? How many head coaches are they going to go through? How many first-round quarterbacks are they going to go through down there before we really kind of have to ask ourselves, is the owner, the guy leading the charge here, kind of the problem? I mean, he's certainly the common thread. I don't know. I've always been a sucker for the town of Jacksonville. I've been a Buccaneers fan for way longer than the Jaguars have ever been a franchise. But I've always had a soft spot for the Jags just because I love that town. And I don't know. I follow a lot of Jacksonville news, and that seems to be a lot of the chatter down there. So I just figured I'd throw it out there. Is Shad the problem? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that he, the hire of Urban Meyer was
not a good look.
Well, it was a reach. I mean, he was trying to go in 180 degrees from where he went before, which with Coughlin and kind of the stable type situation, and he was trying to make a big splash by going out and getting Urban Meyer to come and be the head coach at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when you take that big leap like that, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't go well for you. And in this case, it didn't go well for him. And now he's having to deal with that. And so now the next question will be, this next hire, does he swing back the other way, or does at what point does he quit worrying about the pendulum swinging back and forth and really make a good hire?
Right. I mean, again, where was the GM in his ear when it came time to pull the trigger on the Urban Meyer hire? Where was the GM saying, boss, this might not be the best of calls? And that's why you've got fans down there ready to riot when they announce that, hey, we're going to keep Trent Baalke around because we think he's the right guy to lead this search. Seriously? Are you joking me right now?
Well,
so, at some point the buck stops at the man in charge, and Shad's had a lot of swings, and they've all been misses over 10 years.
Well, unfortunately, the only way to really get rid of an owner is for him to sell the team, right?
Yeah.
That'd be it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to see what the next hire's going to be. We're just got a report that they're eyeing Jim Caldwell, who was with the Lions not too long ago. We just went through and looked at his record with the Lions, 36-28 overall, fired after a 9-7 season. First year with him was 11-5. That could be the answer. The thing is, though, honestly, if the Jaguars don't get it done with the talent that they have right now in Trevor Lawrence, there's something at the top that's just not caring about getting the correct growth out of their team.
Yeah, no, I do believe it's got to be an offensive guy, whichever way that you go. You've got too much invested in Trevor Lawrence. I know they interviewed Todd Bowles today from down in Tampa, but I think Doug Peterson is your guy. I mean, if you're putting GME in charge, the guy's got Lombardi's, he's got experience, and he's got head. He's been a head man. He can step into the room and have a modicum of clout that I don't think any of these other guys can have, and he's an offensive guy. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think there are certain franchises in sports out there that you look at the owners and say, that team's never going to go anywhere. Look at Dan Snyder and the Washington football team. Does anybody really have any expectation that they're ever going to win as long as that guy's in charge? It was that way for years with Hugh Culverhouse down in Tampa Bay. And I don't know. I feel for the city of Jacksonville and the few Jaguar fans that are left out there, man. Y'all got a tough road to hoe.
No doubt about it.
Always a pleasure, fellas. Let's all hook up and do some lunch someday.
Yes, sir. That sounds good, Ian. We appreciate the call. They got to get it right though here with Trevor Lawrence, because if not, and Doug Peterson could be a good fit. Why not? I mean, you got it. You do. I would imagine you need to go with an offensive guy. I wonder though, do you need to have someone who can come in and take control of the room, or do you give someone the shot like an Eric Bieniemy, like a Byron Leftwich? Look at what he's done with the Buccaneers. I mean, he's at Tom Brady, so that helps. But you can't tell me that Byron Leftwich hasn't learned from coaching Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're saying. I just think that after you take a step and you fly out there and you grab a college coach, Urban Meyer, and you bring him in, and it just bombs it. He's got to go with a more stable person that can come in and maintain and keep the respect of the locker room, because Urban Meyer, he never had the respect of the moment that he signed Tim Tebow and brought him in. The rest of that locker room was looking at him like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. And then it just kept feeding on itself and worse and worse. He's
that timeline was.
It was short.
We got a whole. No, well, it was short, but there was a lot of there's a lot of destinations along the timeline. A lot of things to talk about. It got us a whole segment and a half whenever we were just talking literally about all of the flare-ups that he's had in his short tenure.
But having a guy that has been in the league, I think Peterson is a good option. He can develop a quarterback. He played quarterback. He was Brett Favre's backup for a number of years. He understands what it means to be an NFL quarterback. And when you've got a guy like Lawrence, you've got to take advantage of that. And so they got to find somebody that can help him to become what he needs to be.
And the Jaguars, especially when they get Travis Etienne, and they're almost reminiscent of the Eagles team that Peterson took to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Carson Wentz, kind of Trevor Lawrence-y. I would say Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback, but that year, Carson Wentz was doing his thing until he got injured. So now you just need a solid backup. They got rid of him in Gardner Minshew, but, you have a solid backup. So when Trevor Lawrence gets hurt and you're in the playoffs and you have the other guy come in, you playing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and you get the W. Perfect. I got it set up. I'm just ready to go.
You get a statue.
You get a statue. All right, let me get this thing. All right, so we're just waiting for a few more seconds here, and then we'll be taking a quick little break. But, yeah.
We could bring in Nick Foles.
Do you think? Oh, man.
Bears aren't keeping him after this
I know,
year.
so what's going to go on?
Too big.
Nick Foles.
All right, here we go.
Been in Jacksonville.
Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. Short break. We're going to be right back with Nick Foles.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dan Patrick Show. Weekdays from 9 till 11.
I was wondering, as controversial as this would sound, they should take away the last weekend of football, the regular season. If they truly care about getting everybody healthy for the postseason, how about you take away Week 17?
The Dan Patrick Show, weekdays 9 to 11 on ESPN, Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, we start every day fresh with 100% all-natural chicken tenders, buttermilk marinated to lock in the flavor, wings glazed with your favorite flavors, delicious chicken sandwiches, crisp salads and wraps, all made fresh when you order every time, with family-style sides and our famous mason jar desserts. There are lots of places to get chicken, but only one Slim's. Slim Chickens. Fresh, delicious chicken.
Didn't receive all you wanted for Christmas? Then you need to visit That Boot Store and use that Christmas cash. Or maybe you received a That Boot Store gift card? Shop the huge selection of name brand Western wear and work clothes, along with all the accessories. That Boot Store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Next to Bill Bird Kia on 15th Street. Remember what Joe said, always keep Jesus in your new year.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Your home for college basketball. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynn, Panama City. 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. It is time for the 5 at 5. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Old School and Austin Siegel. Yesterday we had the Steelers and the Browns. Steelers come out on top 26-14. Wisconsin, number 23 Wisconsin, took down Purdue last night.
Yes.
Purdue was 12.5-point favorites. Wisconsin wins that game 74-69. The Wizards beat the Hornets 124-121 in the NBA. The Fighting Lucas, the Dallas Mavericks.
Overrated.
Well, he wasn't last night. The Mavericks beat the Nuggets 103-89.
I just wanted you to say that.
He's overrated. The Rangers beat the Oilers in the NHL 4-1. Let's start off with the bowl game tonight, the Texas Bowl, right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got LSU and Kansas State. Let's start off with Austin. Who you like to win this game?
I like LSU. It's Kansas State's very good, but with LSU losing their head coach and they're ready to turn a new leaf, I think they're going to play well, because if they don't, that's going to kill them in recruiting, because I'm sure there's a lot of recruits out there that are watching going, I wonder if they're still good after everything that just happened.
What do you think, Old School?
Yeah, I think this is a challenge for LSU, and Kansas State is one of those teams that, when you think of them as a brand, you don't go, oh yeah, Kansas State, but yet they're a bunch of farm boys that are big and strong, and I'm gonna take Kansas State tonight.
Take Kansas State. All right. You got K-State. I'm going with Austin Siegel on this one. Youth was ruling it last night, and Austin had the best record last night. He went 3-2. Me, you, and Boston Tim went 2-3. But I like LSU in this game. Majority of the reasons is really what Austin said. Recruiting purposes, this is a very pivotal game for LSU, because it could downtrend you, or will Brian Kelly get his family in LSU ready to go? Let's go to the. I don't think that he's coaching tonight, but I mean it's gonna be his family soon. So
his family.
Flames versus the Panthers. NHL. Florida is they're favored by 145, or they're the favorites tonight. They're the favorite. I still got to figure out my hockey odds. I don't bet on hockey. I got to figure it out. Bear with me though. Betting's coming to Florida soon, probably 2 years or so. We had it for a little bit, man. We had it for a little bit with the Hard Rock app, but then they just took it away. They suspended operations. We'll get that back soon, though, whenever they get it to legislation. Flames, Panthers, Old School, who you like?
Where do I live?
Florida. It's going to be a good game. Give me Calgary.
I'm going with Calgary as well.
You got to take the Canadian teams. All right, let's go to the hardwood floor college basketball. Number 9, Auburn's taking on South Carolina. South Carolina at the house, 9.5-point underdog. We're going to have Brad Law on with us tomorrow at 4:30, so we'll recap this game and also Auburn's bowl game against Houston. Houston getting the edge in that one. Number 9, Auburn versus South Carolina. Let me get Auburn to win this game. What you got, Austin?
I'm sticking with Auburn, too. Yeah.
Old School.
War Eagle.
War Eagle. Now let's get to one of Old School's favorite schools, Oklahoma, taking on number 1, Baylor. Baylor is a 12-point favorite at the house. Austin, who you like in this game?
I've always been impressed with Baylor ever since they beat Gonzaga last season at the end of the season, because I thought Gonzaga was unbeatable, and then Baylor just worked them.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since I've seen them play, I would not bet. I lost money that game, so I'm not betting against them again. I'm going Baylor.
Oh, what if they rematch this year? Who would you go with?
I'd go Baylor again.
Baylor again. Old School.
I tried to tell I was on Baylor a long time before they played Gonzaga, so I'm staying on Baylor, and I don't know. I just think that I love the way Baylor plays defense, and they got a lot of athletes out there on the basketball floor.
Yeah, they bought nobody all year. Gonzaga was untouchable, and they literally just bodied them. They were pounding right inside the paint. They were shooting all over them. Gonzaga literally looked like they shouldn't have even been in the game.
Yeah, they really did though. And Baylor, man, they're mean when they get to playing. You know what I mean? It was almost like Alabama, Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Like the athlete size difference. There was a big differential there. So we're sweeping that one across the board. Everybody's got Baylor. Let's go to the NBA, where the Grizzlies are going to be taking on the Cavaliers. Both these teams, when you say their name, you don't think that they're going to have the record that they have. But both of these teams are overcompensating this year. Grizzlies at the Cavaliers, old school.
I'll take the Cavs. At home.
Let me get Memphis.
I do love Memphis though.
I like Ja Morant and the Grizzlies.
Ja Morant, man,
I just think Cleveland at home. That's the only reason. I love Ja.
He was born to be a basketball
Yes,
player.
he was.
I mean, he was named to be a basketball player. If you take off the Orant, the Orant, his name's Jam. So and he jams, my man. He jams. Let's get back to some Defend Your Stance questions. That's all we've got for the 5 at 5 today. Let's go. Who do you got for the NFL MVP? Old school.
I think it's Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous. I mean, COVID toe and everything. I mean, it's just, and I don't like him. I hate the hairdo. I mean,
yeah, I hate the hairdo.
I hate the hairdo. Anybody that has that much hair should not be able to play. It's not fair. And I thought it was cool, when he first said it was for a Halloween costume, and then it was John Wick, I was like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now cut it. Halloween's over with. Cut your hair now. But don't try to look 25 when you're 37. And that's I have an issue with that. I don't like the guy.
Okay.
But he is the best player in the league.
I think it's Jonathan Taylor, just because he's running it all over every team every week, and teams know what the Colts are going to do. They literally come in the game like knowing, okay, the Colts are going to run the ball at least 25 times this game, and he still does it.
When's the last time a running back won the NFL MVP?
It's probably been a couple. I mean, Derrick Henry must have been the last one, right? Derrick Henry was probably the last one to win it as a running back.
No, he didn't. He never won the MVP. Because last year would have been the surefire year that he could have, but he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because he was over 2,000 last year. Which Jonathan Taylor, he would need a close to 300 yards to get over 2,000 this year. But he's stocking up the touchdowns, 18 touchdowns. But we're also talking about Derrick Henry, who's sitting at 937 yards with only 8 games played and 10 touchdowns in only 8 games played. But there's a strong argument, I think, that Jonathan Taylor could be. Had they won the AFC South, had he started out the year as hot as what he got around like week 4 or 5, definitely. It's going to be. I think the only reason Aaron Rodgers wouldn't win it is because they just don't want to give it to him 2 years in a row. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I understand that they don't want to, have back-to-back, but, I mean, you look at what the guy has done. I mean, first of all, nobody knew if he was going to play. First, it was like, okay, he's out of there. He's not going to play. Then it's, okay, they're going to bring him back for 1 year. And he's just got that F-you attitude to the point where he doesn't care. And he's going to go out there and he's going to beat you. And he is by far, and Tom Brady's the best ever, but he's not Aaron Rodgers.
All right, well, let's get over to the phone line. We've got somebody who knows who the last MVP that was a running back was. Go ahead.
It's Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, man. As soon as I answered the phone and he said Adrian, I was like, oh, Adrian Peterson.
I'm a big-time Viking fan, so.
Is this Bobby?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, my man? So,
so how did y'all's bowl predictions come out? Who won?
Oh man, Old School's in 8th place in the Capital One Bowl Mania, for 104.3. He's number 8, or he's in 8th. I'm out of 22.
24.
No, out of 22, I'm like 19th.
Yeah.
So I had the one that we did here, and then I had a money one, and so basically any game that I was double guessing on or whatever, I went one way or the other on it, and surprisingly, I averaged out pretty terribly on both of them. You would have thought it would have helped me.
What about that Rose Bowl? Was that not like an amazing game?
It was one of the best games I've seen in a long time.
The Rose Bowl always, though.
What was that bowl at Purdue?
That was the Music City Bowl in Tennessee. Purdue in Tennessee. Yeah. What do you think about that call?
17,000 or 1,700 yards of offense.
Yep.
Wow, that is crazy.
And who would have expected? What's the quarterback for Purdue? I think it's Aiden O'Connell or something like that.
Yeah,
who would have expected that kid to go off like that?
Wow.
Man. I mean, I loved the Oklahoma State Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was
that was good. That
it was a
good game.
really good game, and it was a tale of two halves. Notre Dame's half in the first half, and then Oklahoma State stormed back and really shut them down. I mean, it was a lot of different kind of games. You had the shootout between Utah and Ohio State, and then so there's a lot of really fun type of games to watch.
And those
Did
numbers
you catch-
from Smith and
Did you
Jigba.
catch the mullet hats? The mullet hats?
The mullet hats?
Yeah, from what's it, Leach?
Oh, Mike.
You didn't see the mullet hats?
I
in the
missed the
crowd?
mullet hat. I didn't watch
man,
that game.
It cracked me up. It cracked me up. It cracked me up. It cracked me
Texas
up.
Tech.
I don't know if it was a mock, or they just wanted him back, or they respected him, or whatever.
I would
But they had
imagine
the
it would.
mullet hat.
I would imagine it would be a little bit of a mock because there's they've got some contractual.
Yeah, he was supposed to
differences
write him
going
a
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was supposed to bring him a check. He said, "Yeah, bring me a check." But yeah, it was pretty funny. But y'all have a great. I hope y'all had a great New Year's, and I'll see y'all next year.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Good to talk to you, Bobby. Thanks for calling.
Peace out.
Peace out. All right, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to be going over some playoff scenarios. And I was trying to figure out how the Patriots and how the Bills, which one of those guys is going to clinch. So we'll go over some scenarios when we get back.
Our forecast overnight, scattered clouds, light east winds, overnight temperature 45 to 52. 65 to 72, partly sunny skies Wednesday. Southwest wind will increase about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of showers late Wednesday night into Thursday. Mostly cloudy skies near 70 Thursday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
With a national championship, I think Jim Harbaugh would be primed for the NFL. I've always felt that he's better in the NFL. Now, that's having said that after his best season as a college coach, but a lot of us have forgotten how good he was with the 49ers. He went to a couple of championship games. He went to the Super Bowl. I think he's better suited for that game. The fact that Jim Harbaugh marches off to the Bears, but I would not rule it out.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. With the cooler season upon us, now is the time to be attacking those unsightly weeds that have been taking over your lawn all season long. We can design a specific program to help your lawn become and look its very best. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Looking for ways to save at the pump? Ask about offers fuel induction service that can improve gas mileage and engine performance, cleaning any buildup that forms inside your engine parts at Offered Tire and Service Center. Their latest technology to clean up the entire system, not just the gas tank.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
Being a new homeowner comes with new challenges. Your local agent at Ellis Agency Insurance, an independent progressive agent, has bad news and good news for you. The bad news is you'll probably start talking like your parents. Good news is you'll start saving like your parents. Combining home and auto with Progressive is easy with Ellis Agency Insurance. You'll save money on your car insurance by bundling with Ellis Agency Insurance. Call 850-763-1627 or ellisagencyinsurance.net. Home and auto insurance provided and serviced by Progressive Casualty Insurance and affiliate. Discounts not available in all situations.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida in the beautiful Rip Crib Radio Room. Nice Tuesday afternoon. Still had a little sunlight right at 5 o'clock. That was weird to walk out and still see the sun after 5 o'clock. Can't wait for daylight saving times to come on back, man. So let's go over some of these playoff scenarios here and how teams can clinch what they need to clinch. What's already been clinched in the AFC, the Bengals are your AFC North division champs. The Chiefs, AFC West division champs. The Titans have won the AFC South. The Bills got a playoff berth, and the Patriots have a playoff berth. However, they still got to sort out who's going to win the East. So let's look at that first. The Bills, they're 10-6. They're taking on the Jets Sunday, 3:25. So they can clinch the AFC East with a win. Or if the Patriots lose, they would clinch. Or if the Bills tie and the Patriots tie. So basically, the Bills just got to win. All right. For the Patriots, they're taking on the Dolphins, 3:25. They'll clinch with them winning and the Bills losing, or if the Bills tie, or if the Patriots tie and the Bills lose. Who's winning the AFC East? Buffalo. Man, but I don't know. The Jets, look, they pushed the Bucs to the brink last week. Who's to say they couldn't take the Jets or take the Bills down?
Oh, I mean, any given Sunday. I mean, you're right. It's possible, but it just looks like to me the Bills have kind of weathered the storm. No pun intended. I mean, they played that horrible game with all the wind and stuff. But I think Tim said it yesterday. We got infatuated with the Patriots because they won 6 in a row, but it was really not. They weren't playing the top caliber teams. They kind of feasted on the bottom teams. So the Bills. I'm not saying that the Bills are going to be dangerous if they make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be dangerous, and I think they're going to win it. I mean, they're going to win the division.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Bills are going to lock that one up. So for the number 1 seed, this is how teams can land the number 1 seed. The Titans, all they got to do is win. If they win, they're the number 1 seed. Or if they tie, the Chiefs lose or tie. Or if the Chiefs lose, the Bengals lose or tie, and the Patriots lose or tie, then the Titans could win even if they lost. That's another route for them. Or if the Chiefs lose, the Bengals lose or tie, and the Bills win. It's getting crazy, isn't it? And I think that's because the reason for that, old school, is because the Patriots beat the Titans, but the Titans beat the Bills. So that's why it's like that. The Chiefs, for them to win the number 1 seed, they're taking on the Broncos Saturday at 3:30. That game will be right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. If they win and the Titans lose or tie, or if the Chiefs tie and the Titans lose. So the Chiefs need the Titans to lose or tie. And they've got the Texans, and the Texans have already beat the Titans once. So it's absolutely a possibility. The Patriots play the Dolphins, like I said, this Sunday. So they can clinch the number 1 seed with the Patriots win, Bills loss or tie, Chiefs, everybody's got to lose. Chiefs lose, Titans lose. So it's so crazy that we're still talking about ways for teams to get into that number 1 seed. The Bengals, they need to win. They need the Titans to lose, the Chiefs to lose, and the Patriots to lose or tie. Or they could also have the Bengals win, the Titans lose, Chiefs loss, and the Bills win. So that is the path for all of the teams who still have a mathematical chance at the number 1 seed. Now let's look at the AFC wildcards. The Ravens are playing the Steelers this Sunday, 12 o'clock. They can clinch a playoff berth with a Ravens win. So the Ravens got to win. The Chargers lose. The Colts lose. And the Dolphins lose. So for the Ravens, if you're a Ravens fan and you need your team in, you're rooting against the Chargers, you're rooting against the Colts, and you want the Dolphins to lose or to tie. So for the Colts, they're taking on the Jaguars this Sunday. They can clinch a playoff berth with Colts. They just got to win. Or if they lose, the Chargers lose, the Ravens and Steelers tie, or they could have the Chargers lose, the Steelers lose, and the Dolphins win. And they're going to win. The Colts are going to beat the Jaguars, and they're going to be right now they're one of the hottest team in the NFL. Let's break off of this for a second. Don't worry about seed or anything. Who's the hottest team in the NFL to you right now, Austin?
It's either the Colts or the Bengals, but I'm leaning toward the Bengals just because the Colts, they can't really throw the football. They're pretty one-dimensional, and the Bengals right now are doing everything. So
Old school?
Yeah, the Bengals.
Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, I love, you got Joe Brady, you got, I mean, it's, or Joe Burrow.
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. Joe Burrow, I mean, I just think he's coming into his own. He's got the cigar back. I mean, he feels confident. They're going to be tough to deal with. I like the Bengals right now.
Have you heard anything? Like, has there been anything that's come out after that Chiefs Bengals game about Joe Burrow's knee? Because if y'all remember, he had to come out at the end. He couldn't even finish off. They took a knee and spike that their backup quarterback had to do. And Tony Romo was like, he could really mess this up. I mean, this is the only time you're touching the ball the whole game.
I think he's fine because I saw pictures of him in the locker room afterwards.
He looked good.
He's smoking a cigar. He's dancing around with guys.
Good.
I think it was more like a precautionary thing. Like, hey, this is what backup quarterbacks are for. Like, there's no reason to even risk putting him in. Just let him. He did his job already. Like, let him sit down. But there is one thing I want to say about the AFC real quick that I found that was funny. So there's a playoff scenario that would be like an NFL nightmare. But so if the Colts and the Jaguars are playing, obviously if the Colts win it. So, which is it's expected. If the Jaguars can pull off beating the Colts, that would mean that the Raiders and Chargers, who are playing after them, if both teams tie, they both get in. Obviously, if one of the team whoever wins that game gets in. But if they both tie,
they both get in.
They both get in. So it would benefit both of them to just take 15 knees, and they both leave happy. End in a tie, and they're going home, and they're both in the playoffs. Now, obviously, that probably won't happen. They're going
especially with it being a divisional game,
they're
right?
They're going to try to win the game, but it's just like a funny thing. Like, if they both realize it, they could go, hey, let's take a couple knees and get out of here.
A couple of wink, wink. Hey, what do you...
And I believe that game...
Good?
Yeah, that's going to be your Sunday Night Football game because that kind of has some of the biggest implications surrounding it. So that'll be a great one, the Chargers and Vegas. So, yeah, how crazy would that be, though? Tie in Week 18, your first ever Week 18, you get a tie in it, and both of those teams move on into the playoffs. And another team that you don't want to see get into the playoffs, I think, if you're, one of the other 6 teams in a playoff spot, would be the Ravens. If Lamar Jackson were to be able to get healthy, we've been seeing the Ravens compete. How many times have they lost by 1 point? 1 point to good teams without Lamar Jackson. With who's their third string? Is it like Joshua Jackson or Justin Jackson, something like that? Him and then Huntley as well. I mean, they're sticking in these games and they're going for 2 at the end of every game, and it's not getting done for them. But they played good this last week against the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the team that you definitely want to watch out for.
I mean, I still think the Chargers are dangerous. Anytime you've got somebody that can throw it like Justin Herbert does, the Chargers, if they get in, they're going to be dangerous. They're not going to be an easy out.
Which team are you most surprised at right now that they still have a chance to be in the playoffs?
I think I am surprised that the Raiders still have a chance because I thought once all that off-the-field issues happened, I was like, man, that's a shame because they had a good team this year. I was just kind of thinking, like, but that's something that, like, most teams can't avoid. Like, if something that big of a change happens mid-season, most teams don't recover. They just kind of call it a day and go, hey, this just wasn't our year.
Mm-hmm.
But they've somehow battled back into a chance. So,
yeah, I think that's a great answer. The Raiders is a great answer. I also think it's hard to believe the Dolphins still have a chance.
They've been mathematically eliminated.
Oh, have they?
The Dolphins have,
I think they just did, yeah.
I thought they were still.
Yep, last week.
Oh, last week? Okay.
So for me then, I think that the right answer, the correct answer to that question has got to be the Raiders because they've dealt with more turmoil as far as off-the-field stuff goes, not necessarily injuries, but off-the-field stuff goes than anyone else. But give me the Steelers. The fact that they're still hanging around and early on in the year, yeah, they beat the Bills week 1. They beat the Bills week 1, but ever since then it's been like, what? This ain't the Steelers that we know. But the fact is, they can win if the Colts lose and the Raiders and Chargers game doesn't end in a tie.
They're in?
They're in.
Are they the number 8? Are they a wild card?
Well, they're 8-7-1.
Oh, okay.
So if the Chargers, well, the Raiders and the Chargers are both 9-7, so one of them would end up being 9-8, and the other one would be 10-7. So the Steelers would sneak in right behind there and get the 7th seed. And that's the team that I don't think you have to worry about at all in the playoffs because they won't be at home. So there won't be that romanticism that comes along with it where the whole crowd's wearing number 7 jerseys. But that's insane that the Steelers still have a route to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's really good.
In the NFC, we're really only just waiting on the NFC West here. The Rams 12-4. They're taking on the 49ers this Sunday. They can clinch the NFC West they just got to win. If they win, they get the West. Or if the Cardinals lose or tie, the Cardinals have the Seahawks. So Cardinals win with a win or the Rams lost. And then the last two wild card scenarios in the NFC, the Saints 8-8 take on the Falcons. They get in if they win and the 49ers lose. The 49ers, who are 9-7, they take on the Rams. They get in with a win or a tie, or if the Saints lose or tie. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. That is all the playoff scenarios, everything that you got to be watching for this Sunday. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back, go over Austin Siegel's top 10 running backs.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus, more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
Have you ever thought about flying an airplane? It's not as difficult as you may think. Simply call Island Air Express. They are a family-oriented flight school who cares about the student pilot progression and more of a one-on-one flight training school. Island Air Express can help you celebrate your birthday by taking you on a birthday flight. Let Island Air Express show you the world from a different view by taking you and your family across beautiful Panama City Beach. Call Island Air Express at 850-814-6407 or visit their website at islandairexpress.com.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Now there's another reason to look forward to Friday, the favorite day of the work week and aptly named for the Roman goddess of love. When we come back, I'll tell you why Friday's an automotive sweetheart.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Fridays are best known for winding down the work week and gearing up the weekend. But before you turn to the open road, Friday's also the best day to head for your service shop. Most repair facilities are busiest Monday through Thursday, tending to cars that break, often of cumulative neglect over the previous weekend. With a big rush over, technicians tend to spend more time, are more thorough, and pay extra attention to detail on Fridays. With some elected pre-repair on Friday, you'll fall in love with Mondays all over again. TGIF. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We are live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are in the Rib Crib radio room. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes. We've got old school Austin Siegel's in the building, and we're going to go over our top 10 running backs for the year of 2021. Old school, you got yours ready? No.
No.
All right. Well, I'll start.
I just want to say to Ryan Movey, I'm sorry, but they're not my Falcons.
Oh.
They can beat the Saints, but they're not my Falcons.
All right. So, yeah, you wanted me to see where they're playing at. So the Saints are in Atlanta. So it could happen. I mean, Arthur Smith has done a pretty good job with those Falcons this year. I mean, did you really expect the Falcons to be at where they're at this year?
No, I did not. They've won some games that I didn't expect, and I'm still not sold on Arthur Smith, but they have performed better. They just have so far to go to be relevant again.
Yeah. What about, we talked about who we thought the strongest team in the AFC were and the most surprising teams in the AFC. Let's do it for the NFC real quick before we jump into these running backs. Old school, who's the strongest team in the NFC to you? I think we did this yesterday though. It's the Packers, right?
Yeah, it's got to be either the Packers. I still think Tampa Bay is, even though they've got some injuries and now with the craziness that's gone on with AB, but I still think number 12 still standing back there playing quarterback. They're still going to be dangerous, and if the defense plays like they can play, Tampa Bay is still going to be dangerous.
Packers for you as well.
Oh yeah, like I said, as much as I hate to say
I'd love
it, being a Bears fan, but
I'd love to see the Cardinals play up to their standards and be good, and I'd love to see the Rams with Matt Stafford finally get there. I just don't know if Matt Stafford can do it.
So, most surprising team in the NFC?
The most surprising in the NFC?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Especially at preseason, I was like, no way. And they're putting it together. They're gonna be in the playoffs. So,
for me, it's the Cowboys. I didn't think the Cowboys were going to be what they have accomplished this year. Particularly defensively, they are so much better than what I thought they would be. Still don't think they're going to get there, but they are better than what I thought they would be.
The Cowboys hit on some draft picks, and that's honestly what helped them. Like obviously the Diggs at corner, he having a year that most rookies don't have.
Mm-hmm.
He has 10 picks now, right?
Yep.
I think he actually broke the double-digit mark, which I don't know the last time a rookie did that. I mean, that's crazy. That's that most DBs any DB that has that in a normal year is like, oh yeah, I'm getting paid. And then they obviously have the linebacker. I'm forgetting his name.
Oh, Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, yeah, Micah Parsons. He's a huge for their defense too. So like just those two alone, I think, are what pushed them over the top. But yeah, so I'd go with the Cowboys. Cowboys surprised me because I mean you never expect a rookie to come in, let alone two of them, and change your whole defense.
So I'm trying to see the last time. Looks like 2015 Marcus Peters, but he didn't have double digits.
He wasn't a rookie.
He had in 2015.
Oh, he was a rookie in 2015?
I'm guessing. I've got most interceptions by a rookie in a season on here. Night Train Lane looks to be the leader. 1952, a little bit before our time. He had 14 interceptions and only played 12 games as well.
And they didn't even throw the ball like that back then.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the last one to get double digits would have been Anthony Henry, who did it for the Browns. He had 10 interceptions, 16 games played, 2001. So you're right. Oh, no, Jarius Byrd. In 2009 for the Bills, he had 9. So the last guy to get double digits was Anthony Henry, but you got Trayvon Diggs up there now.
Man.
Yeah, that's impressive company to be in. It's an impressive feat. So Dallas, as good as they're playing, it is a surprise that they're playing at the level that they are. Now, how deep into the playoffs do we really expect the Cowboys to go?
Not very far.
Not very far. You got your top 10 list done yet?
Yeah,
awesome.
Mine's done.
All right, let's go. All right, let's see how close we are then. I'm going to start off with mine. I think we're both going to agree that this year Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the NFL.
Well, I actually went with Derrick Henry, but the reason why I'm going with Derrick Henry is obviously a healthy Derrick Henry is better.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor was my number 2, obviously,
Okay.
but like I mean, if Derrick Henry hadn't gotten hurt, he's probably in the discussion for NFL MVP.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's the only. I wasn't going off of like, oh well, since Derrick Henry's not healthy right now, he can't be the number 1 back. Well, he still is.
No, I feel that 100%.
If he comes back, he probably will be the same Derrick Henry that he always is and just run the ball. But
I hope so, man.
Yeah,
so I'm going Jonathan Taylor at the top. Austin's going Derrick Henry. For number 2, I've got Nick Chubb this year. Where are you at?
I got him a little farther down my list.
All right.
but I already said my number 2, but it was Jonathan Taylor.
That's right. That's right. All right, so then number 3, who you got at number 3?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron
for the
Jones.
Packers. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's one of those guys that can do
both.
You can split him up as a wide receiver and he'll be fine. You can use him as a every down back, he'll be fine. You can use him to block, he can block. He can do everything. So
I love that pick right there. And actually, it's crazy to say this, and I think really Aaron Jones didn't crack my top 10, and I think the reason why is because as much as he has helped me through this fantasy season, it's not the same numbers that I'm used to seeing from Aaron Jones, and mainly that's because of A.J. Dillon and the usage that he's been getting lately. So number 3 for me, I'm going, and this is surprising to myself, but I'm going Joe Mixon. He's got a lot of touchdowns. He's put up a lot of yards, and he's not as versatile as what you're saying with catching the ball, but he can receive out of the backfield. And he's not the best blocker, but Joe Burrow hasn't been on his tailbone as much this year. So I'll go with Joe Mixon for number 3. What you got? Or are we on number 4 for you?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm on 4. But right. My number 4 is Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Because again,
he played one game.
He played more than one technically, but because he's on my fantasy team this year, that's why I know that.
He played 3 games.
Yeah,
how many games did he play? 3?
I think he played like 4.
It was like 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, but
because he came back and he got hurt pretty soon after he came back.
I thought it was the first game back he got hurt. This might have been the second game back.
Yeah, I think he played. He came back from injury, played one game, and I was like, oh, okay, sweet. He got like 25 points for me. And then
the next game he got hurt like really early into it. Yeah.
But yeah, he's my number 4 because I mean. When he's healthy, he is.
There's no doubt about it. You could put him, especially for fantasy purposes, when he's healthy, number 1. You know what I mean? You can put him because he's going to get more receptions than what Derrick Henry is. For me, number 4, I'm going to go Austin Eckler, and it's really for the same reason that you brought up Aaron Jones. It's because he can do it all. He's the feature back for the Chargers. He catches a lot of balls out of the backfield as well. Austin Eckler for me at number 4. So number 5 for you.
My number 5 was David Montgomery, and now obviously I'm a Bears fan, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
But, I watch him.
A little biased?
I watch him run the ball with 0 O-line, and he will get 5 yards, and he'll fight for every inch of it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of backs in the NFL that will legitimately fight every time they get the ball. Like there's some backs that are like, I'll just dip out of bounds and take the 2 yards, but he won't do that. He will put his foot in the ground and he will run forward for 3, 4, 5. He doesn't care. He will get the yardage that you need. And I mean I just love watching him run the ball because every time he touches it, he literally will fight. And that's a running back that I'd love to have. So
it's your list, man. And Old School cannot correct our list, especially when he doesn't even got his own to come. You didn't even come to the table with your list, Old School.
I got one name. One name, and it's the only one that matters.
Tom Brady.
Cordell Patterson.
Oh, man. And I was mad when you said that earlier, and I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't get him on my top 10. And he's playing like a top 10, especially when you throw in guys like Aaron Jones and Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey. Like, he's in that name or in that group. For number 5 for me, I'm going to go Derrick Henry. Everything that you said about Derrick Henry, if he was healthy, we'd probably have him in a different light. But I wasn't even going to put him in there at first, but 980 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 games played. Yeah, he's definitely a top 5 back this year, even with only playing half the season. Who you got for number 6?
Josh Jacobs for the Raiders.
Ooh.
'Cause he's another one that.
Yeah, he is. He's David Montgomery-ish.
He's a big guy. And he can catch the ball, but he's not really known for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's another guy that plays for like the Raiders, who's like a tough team, and he's a tough guy, and he's fun to watch run the ball too. And I saw him play in person, and I was amazed at how big his legs are. His legs are like tree trunks.
Number 6 for me is going to be Najee Harris because had he had another quarterback this year that had a little bit more mobility, we could be talking about him in a different light, not being utilized as much, but he had to carry the ball a lot this year. And I don't want to give it away because I had a game that we were going to play today, but I'll scratch that one. But last night he broke the single game rushing record for the Pittsburgh Steelers with 188 yards, taking over Franco Harris's. So that's an impressive feat. So for me, Najee Harris, as much as he's had to carry the ball for him, has produced as well.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Who had the better stiff arm last night? Najee Harris or
Nick Chubb.
I like Najee's. Oof.
Nah, but Nick Chubb.
That one, he put him. Bomb! It was like
they were both pretty
Flat.
good. I mean, if I'm the defender on that play, I'm gonna pretend I'm hurt because that's that's bad. That is really bad.
Oh man, that's a good question, old school. All right, so number 7 for you. What you got?
I actually had Najee at 7.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's good for a rookie. He's good.
Number 7 for me is going to be Dalvin Cook. I would have liked to see a little bit more from him. It's the same thing every year. It's those 2 or 3 games where he gets injured, but the productivity that he has coming back from that injury is absolutely amazing. So I love what Dalvin Cook does, and he's another one of those guys that it's not what Austin Siegel's bringing up. You know what I mean? Those kind of like smash and bruiser type backs, but he's he's shifty. So he can finesse, but he can also run you slap over. So for me, Dalvin Cook's at 7. Let's go to number 8. What you got?
I had Nick Chubb at 8.
Okay.
For, again, the reasons. So I'm sticking to it too.
Nick Chubb at number 8.
Oh man! Oh yeah, Brandon Phelps, Sony Michel been balling out or been bailing out Stafford. The Rams had Darrell Henderson was running for him pretty well. Then COVID and some injury. I believe he's on IR now. So, but then Sony Michel stepped right up into that position and did a great job. If he was doing that for 17 consecutive weeks, he could be up on this list. So number 8 for me is going to be Damian Harris, and it's only because of the touchdowns that he's been getting. 14 touchdowns on the year, and he's dealt with some injuries as well. I'll give Damian Harris a nod based on the touchdowns. Number 9, what you got?
I had Alvin Kamara.
Oh man, how did I not get Kamara on my list?
Kamara's
Didn't you draft him for your fantasy team?
Actually, I think I stayed away from him because I didn't know what the quarterback situation was going to be. And if Taysom Hill is his quarterback,
it hurts him.
It kills him.
Yep.
It absolutely kills him. Number 9 for me, I'm going to go with a guy who was off of the radar, and it's a biased pick. It's Elijah Mitchell, San Francisco 49ers running back. And it's because in one of my leagues, I did not draft. I had Josh Jacobs and Darrell Henderson, but outside of that, I had no good running backs. So week 1, I'm sitting there watching Schefter on one of the fantasy football shows, and he's like, Elijah Mitchell, like, get this guy, pick him up. He might could save you. So I do it. Boom. I don't know if I won that week, but started winning games based on Elijah Mitchell's performance. So he bailed me out, and because of him, I'm not going to have to spend 24 hours in Waffle House eating 24 waffles.
Well, Elijah Mitchell benefited because Raheem Mostert got hurt week 1, which I drafted Raheem Mostert was one of my top picks, and that killed me.
Yep.
So that's why I don't like Elijah Mitchell. Just 'cause of that.
I feel it, though. I feel it all the way
good,
around. And that running back room, it seems like that every year for the 49ers, that running back room. And I was expecting it to be Trey Sermon's job this year. At this point in the season, I was expecting it to be Trey Sermon's job. But every year they have those injury problems, but one of those guys just kind of separates himself from the pack. Raheem Mostert, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but that dude just absolutely went off and saved a lot of people's fantasy teams. Number 10.
I had Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook at number 10? Yeah, I almost want to change mine here. I don't know why in the heck I got him up here, but Zeke, he's still, or he's got about the same amount of yards as what Derrick Henry does, same amount of carries as well. I don't like him being here at number 10, and there's other guys that I could definitely put Kamara in over Zeke, but for the sake of it, I believe his yardage and touchdowns combined gave him room for me to put him up in the top 10. So there you have it. Top 10 running backs by Austin and David, and Old School just agreed with them all. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. Short break. Be right back.
Our forecast overnight, scattered clouds, light east winds, overnight temperature 45 to 52. 65 to 72, partly sunny skies Wednesday. Southwest wind will increase about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of showers late Wednesday night and the Thursday. Mostly cloudy skies near 70 Thursday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show. Weekday mornings 7 till 9 on your station for the best local sports talk.
Bama's getting it done. Georgia getting it done. We want it done, but we want it done right now. Auburn's going to be fine. Just calm down. The problem with Auburn, your two biggest rivals are playing for the national champion. You're right in the middle of them. You recruit against them. It's tough, man. Auburn is one of the best jobs in the country. I'm hoping Auburn will do good next year.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hill sent you.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio, the next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, we are back right here in the Rib Crib Radio Room. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. We've got about 7 minutes left here. Then we're going to get you out to Paul Feinbaum for 2 hours. And then at 8 o'clock, we've got the Texas Bowl, LSU and Kansas State. Who's going to be coaching the bowl game for LSU?
I actually do not know that answer. I was curious.
I wonder about that. You got the list of transfers over there, Old School?
I got them.
All right, why don't you start going over some of them? Starting off with, Matt Corral. What's his decision going to be?
So Matt Corral is he's declared for the draft. So he's projected to be a late first round. We don't know now with the injury that he had in the bowl game, but he is now declared for the draft. Felix Harper, who was at Alcorn State, he's also announced that he's going to the draft. Here's the one that surprised me: was Adrian Martinez.
Yeah.
He's been at Nebraska for, I think, 7, 8, 9.
It's like a Kellen Mond type deal.
Yeah. He's, I don't know how long he's been there, but he's now entered the transfer portal.
Well, he announced where he was going. I saw it on Twitter. He said he's going to K-State.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading that now. Yeah. So he's going to K-State. Jaden Daniels from Arizona State, which I saw him play. This kid's talented. He's going to return and stay at Arizona State. So that's good. Dylan Gabriel, who was formerly the quarterback at the University of Central Florida, is originally said he was going to maybe visit and go to Ole Miss or look at Ole Miss.
No, it was UCLA. It was
UCLA. And now he's going to Oklahoma.
Yeah. I wonder what caused that change of mind.
Well, I saw Oklahoma hired an offensive coordinator that was his offensive coordinator at UCF. So he was like, hey, that's the connection that flipped him, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. And he was impressive at UCF. He really was. And then he broke his collarbone in that trying to make a tackle there.
Yeah.
He threw an interception at the end of a game and tried to make the tackle.
I just wonder how that's going to play out with Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams had that one game that was impressive, really just filling in for Spencer Rattler in the game against Texas.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, all of his other stuff was pretty much mediocre. I mean, he's a big guy, but he wasn't doing anything that overly impressed me.
No, I mean, I just think that, anytime you lead Oklahoma to a victory over Texas, especially when they were so far behind when he came in and he let them back. But now he's also announced that he's at least considering going somewhere else. He's put his name in the transfer portal. He hasn't announced if he's decided he's going anywhere, but he has the opportunity to at least look around.
What about Bo Nix to Oregon?
That one surprised me.
Because you were thinking it was going to be
I thought he
UCF.
would-
I thought it
I
was
thought he
going to
would go to
be.
UCF.
I thought it was going to be UCF or Ole Miss. I just felt like I maybe didn't want to go to another SEC team, but I felt like, man, you get the chance to play quarterback for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Why not jump at that opportunity? How do you guys think he'll do with Oregon? They're basically that's funny. He started his career against Oregon.
Yeah, first game as a freshman.
Yeah.
Playing in Jerry's world. Made the pass at the end of the game to get the victory there through a touchdown at the end of the game. And now here he is. He's moving on out there. There's a relationship there that he has with the offensive coordinator there. And that's the reason why he made that decision to go. I really thought he would go and play with Gus, but I guess he wants to be on the – I mean, UCF is going to the Big 12, but I guess he wanted to go play in
the Pac-12.
In the Pac-12.
I wonder which conference is going to be tougher next year, the Big 12 or the Pac-12, because Big 12 possibly losing Texas and Oklahoma, but also gaining, Cincinnati, BYU, UCF. Who's the other one? Is it Houston?
Houston.
Those are some pretty good schools to bring into your conference, and you look at some of these smaller conferences and how they did in the bowl games compared to even the SEC doesn't have a winning record.
Well, here's one that kind of jumped out at me, which is Michael Penix from Indiana, who, we were all excited about him, and then he got hurt, and now he's transferring to Washington. It's going to be a Husky. So that'll be interesting to see how he does. And then we get these guys, Carson Strong, big-time prospect out at Nevada, and now he's announced that he's going to the NFL. And I don't know what he.
There's just not a whole lot to pick from, quarterback-wise, in the NFL draft this year. I don't even know what position.
Cincinnati's coming out.
Desmond Ritter's
coming
got
out.
Kenny Pickett,
Pickett,
Matt Corral. Which one do any of those guys sit here and say, "I'm going to change your franchise for you"? Like, do they jump off the screen like that to you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I thought the kid from Cincinnati is just talented. I mean, he's a heck of an athlete. And I don't know, but he didn't play very well in the bowl game.
If there's anyone that has that typical type of quarterback body or whatever, it would be Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
I don't know how Matt Corral. I mean, these mobile guys, as great as Kyler Murray is, as great as Russ is a little bit of the difference because he's lasted as long as he has. But I mean, look at what Lamar's dealing with now. RG3, all of these guys who are legs first, the longevity is just not there with them.
What do you think about Grayson McCall out of Coastal Carolina?
Yeah, is he going to
he's declaring for the draft?
For the draft, okay, because that would be weird for anybody to transfer from Coastal Carolina. As much fun as it looks like they have, but yeah, Mr. Mullet should do fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
but what if he ends up at Jacksonville? Can his mullet hang with Gardner Minshew's mullet?
I mean, he'll be along that same line. He'll be a nice backup quarterback that comes in.
And then this kid Bailey Zappi.
Yeah. That's something
he's going to the draft. It'd be
we'll
fun
have to
see
watch
what he does in the pros.
8 o'clock, Texas Bowl. Get you to Paul Feinbaum for a couple hours. Then the Texas Bowl, LSU, Kansas State. Y'all have a great afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow at 4.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny. I'm not a big believer in coincidences. Right. Like when